Y'all know me, and you know which one I'm going to pick. But if you want a real broad look underneath, you can use a pencil brush like this, and you can, I'll go ahead and do it, and you take the transition color, don't use your dark color, the transition color, and go a little wider down here, a little lower, and it kind of darkens the area, but it's kind of a light darkening, you know, it's not like a liner, and that's okay, because we're going to come back, and I'm not staying very close to the eyelash, if you notice. I'm kind of going right below that, almost like you have dark circles under your eyes. I'm just kidding. The circles are down here, which mine are actually very dry looking today. I think I got a little dehydrated and drank enough water on the trip. Anyway, you can come in with a short shader. As some people call this a smudge brush. And you come to this darker color. I wet mine. You can use MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. Some people just call it MAC Fix Plus. I use this if I want to travel with it. I use this little mini size. I got that at the airport one time. But I just, no kidding, get it wet with my spit. Because I don't share my palettes. You really should never share your palettes ever. I can't think of why you would ever. Even as a professional makeup artist. I think that if you're doing an event for someone, I think you just figure in the cost of the palette to doing the makeup for them and give them the palette. I don't believe in sharing the palette. And also in that situation, when you were doing someone's makeup, I would use something to wet it. Some people say that you can use saline, you know, eye drops. But I would use something that's actually made for that. And that's so easy to get. You know, Mac's everywhere. You can get it online if you need it. But anyway, and then I stay right to the lash line with this color. So it creates kind of a gradient that you've got this darker color right on the lash line. And right below it is the transition color. And you also can run that along the lash line if you want. You can use this as just a lazy day or casual day liner. You know, you're not going to have a defined eyeliner. Bree wants to play ball so bad, and I'm sorry I have to because I've been gone, and they missed me so bad. But we had a house sitter, and he was wonderful. He was a friend, very sweet young Christian man. I thought also might do him some good to have some time alone in our house with no TV. I mean, I told him he could use TV. And he's also a musician, so he can use Lance's instruments. But it was also just a time, you know, to get away from your own house and feel like you're kind of getting away on a vacation and have some quiet time with the Lord. And he said that is exactly what it was, and it was really good for him, so that made me feel good. He's a very close friend of our son's. Our daughters couldn't do it. For one thing, my daughters are both older with kids, meaning they are, Tiffany has 3 kids and Michelle has 2. They live further away. It would not work for them to do it. It would not behoove my oldest grandchild to have the house to herself at this age in her life, even though I think she's a good girl and I don't think she'd be irresponsible. I just don't think it's right to tempt young people with being alone and unsupervised before, you know, especially in a home. Maybe, you know, going to and from work. I mean, I guess kids can do whatever they want, trust me. I know that they can. But I don't believe in tempting them with having too much alone time, too much adult experience. You know, like having your own home before they're an adult and can deal with the consequences should there be any. Both legal, you know, if they invite their boyfriend over and, you know, have sex and end up getting pregnant, you know. There's just so many things I don't want to be responsible for that I don't try to put a person, whether they're my grandkid or anybody else, in a environment where they're going to be tempted maybe beyond what they could take. Okay, so now I'm going to use this blush. It is a very peachy, it says, or it looks like, so I'm going to kind of roll it, as you see. Let's just see how, it's a nice color. And this is good for an everyday look. It's very light blush. You see, I'm not even using a contour. Kind of using it like a contour at first, and then I'm rolling it right over the apples of the cheeks where blush should be. You blush here, not back here. That's why I do the contour right there. But you can blend it back, and it gives it kind of a definition. Also, it's good to use it at the temples right there, round it out, and just align the face. And what that does is just bring it forward. Did I just get on like a really sensitive subject and then just come off without going into any depth? I especially do this area because that's where my part is, but then you got to blend it out really good. Just so it doesn't look so bright right there. And then I always, if I don't have a contour color, which I actually could use that, I go underneath my nose right there, not on top, right under here, like that. And the reason I do that is to give it a bit of a shadow, because I have a larger nose. And then right under here where the fatty is, just kind of toning that down so it's not so white and doesn't attract so much attention. Same thing here, just almost like a smiley face, just rounding out your chin. And then I always come up on it a little bit because I have a very bulbous chin. Like even when I had had someone do a pencil art of me, they made this huge chin and huge nose, and I'm like, so it's not my imagination. The artist definitely picked up on it. It wasn't a caricature. It was just they were trying to give my true look. I was like, that's just great. But you are what you are. If you don't like it, you can go and do plastic surgery, but sometimes I think it's better just to accept who you are and what you look like. I don't know. If I had a lot of money, I might change some things. I don't know how right or wrong it is. It's certainly vanity. And, you know, we're not supposed to be vain. So, I mean, the whole thing I'm doing right now is makeup. So, but this to me is more fun. Like, this is fun to me. Do y'all feel like it's just fun? Makeup's more about being fun. Now, I'm going to lightly just, do you see how I just kind of mashed that down like that and brought it up? I don't want to fill this up. I just want to use a lighter color before I do my blending, instead of, accidentally having any kind of a layover of the dark colors. Because I'm trying to blend out these lines on the edges, so it just has kind of a natural progression of color. It looks a little more blended without having to spend 20 minutes blending like some people do. That's just not me. I'm never going to take that kind of time to blend, I don't think. Unless I'm doing such a bad makeup job that I have to. That generally might mean you're putting on too much makeup. Anyway, so what do y'all think of this palette? Do you think it looks good for, I think this is a good summer look. Good everyday look. And so easy to take on a trip. Like if I was going on a trip with my husband to the beach, take this palette. It's the right colors for the beach. I am going to use Soft Rose. I was going to use Central Rose, but I think it's a little too dark for today. Isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's a little too strong. Just because today I'm literally, as you can see, in a t-shirt working at home. And, I'm just going to kind of go light on everything. And, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a haul of what I got on my trip. One way or the other, I'll either call it part 2. I may just do a whole separate one. I think I'll do that. Because this is the end of me talking about the Chantecaille palettes for a while. I mean, I'll still use them because that's the whole point of this series, is I'm showing you the palettes themselves and that I should use them. You know, that I should go back and use what I've bought. Now, we've obviously found out that does not mean that I'm not going to use new. I like to get new stuff just because I find it intriguing. Sort of like people who have collections of things. It's not necessarily because they need it. They're just intrigued by it and enjoy it. And I think you have to always keep that in perspective. You know, it's very borderline on having a continual lust for more. So I think you have to balance it. I'm using the IT Cosmetics No Tug Chill Waterproof Liner, which is my favorite all time. I may even go get an extra one today just to have, because I never want to be without it. I love this product. I don't think there's any better. I will tell you one that it's more convenient than doing this. And my other favorite liner, which is for my upper line. This is for my lower waterline, obviously. And you could use this on your upper lash line, but because it's a crayon, it's not going to be as precise. It doesn't get any more precise than this for your upper lash line to do a wing liner or just a light, pretty liner. And that is the DHC Liquid Eyeliner EX. And this is, it says underneath it, Perfect Pro Makeup. So I guess that's part of the inline from DHC. But Liquid Eyeliner EX. And it's just got such a small brush. That is a brush, not a felt tip. And it's perfect. It's very flexible, and it just does the job so well. One thing, by the way, that I love about Chantecaille is these huge mirrors. I mean, this is all you need to get ready. So I'm just going to do a little teeny wing up. I'm not going out very far today. Maybe I will, because I just made that too thick. So I just went out a little further to make the tip end a little finer. Staying very, very close to the lash line. I'm not going to build this up. And only going, well, just finishing that out right at the end of the lash, the actual lashes. I'm not going all the way into the tear duct. So that's just a very simple liner look. And for whatever reason, I think it's just the way you pressurize your right hand versus your left hand. It is different when I come over here than when I am at the other angle. Actually, today it's not a good difference. I am boo-booing, so I'm going to have to come up above it a little bit, which means now this is going to be a thicker line, which means I'm going to have to go back and adjust the other line. Oh, that, by the way, is a ringtone, and I'm going to go into that in a few minutes. Yeah, I'm going to have to just, I'm not going to make this much thicker. I'm just going to go over the same place one more time. I don't really want this to be any thicker today. Here we go. But that does need to be a little more pointed. There. Maybe come down a little. It is harder for some reason to do this side, y'all. You would think it'd be the opposite, because this is my right hand, so you'd think it would be easier. But it's actually, and I always do a little higher, I don't mean to.